Hello， 大家好啊，又係我阿 Joe 啊。有冇覺得我身邊呢有一位朋友呢係同平時嘅訪問嘉賓好唔同呢？咁呢個朋友呢，其實就係我公司嘅一個同事嚇。咁佢本身都唔係呢個本地嘅人。咁我今日邀請佢呢，就其實都傾下呢，就係關於佢對加拿大嘅感覺。So Fiona, welcome, and thanks for taking my invitation.
No problem. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So
Thanks for having me.
I was saying that, you know, in our channel, you're the first sort of non-Chinese speaking guest.
Yes.
To share some of the perspectives that you have in Canada.
Yeah.
Vancouver in particular.
Of course.
So, you know, again, I'd like to thank you to start with.
No problem.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. How long have you been in Canada, and what's the reason why you chose Canada, or in particular Vancouver?
Yeah, so I've been in Canada just over a year now. I think I moved over initially the end of September 23, so it's just November 24 now, so it's just over a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I came over from Ireland,
Yes.
Ireland initially. The reason why I chose Canada, and in particular Vancouver, was, well, for one, Canada and Ireland have a very strong relationship when it comes to visas and work permits.
Okay.
So I was able to apply for a 2-year work visa very, very easily. So the process was long but not complicated in order to get a visa. So that was one of the kind of, in terms of when we look at different options of where to go. Mm-hmm. That was one reason. Another reason is myself and my partner who I came over with we just wanted to experience a new experience living abroad, and experience a new culture, and new kind of and just having new experiences. And Vancouver in particular called out to us because we heard a lot about it being a city that has something for everyone, between the mountains, the beaches, the scenery, and just the overall city itself. You know, we heard a lot about Vancouver being a city that has a lot of that is busy, but also has a very relaxed kind of vibes to it. So that was one of the reasons, and we kind of heard a lot about kind of British Columbia in general being just a lovely area to come to. So would you
say Vancouver, it's sort of like the only city that you thought of when you started the process?
It was, yeah. When we decided on Canada, we were really thinking between Vancouver or Toronto. Okay. For some reason, I think a lot of people seem to only think those two are the only two cities in
known
Canada.
To the world, I suppose.
We kind of realised that Vancouver seemed to be a bit more kind of suited to what we kind of wanted. To be honest, though, I feel like if people were coming over to Canada, there's also there's explore other cities as well, you know, that kind of way. Like, as I said, some people think there's only 2 cities here in Canada, but there's so many other options, many beautiful places. I say that'll be lovely to live as well. Do you know?
So, talking about the visa process.
Sure.
When you applied to that, was that sort of like an open work permit, or is that like you have to get a job there first before they issue you the permit?
It was an open work permit, so you apply. Basically, what happens, I think, like a pool opens each year that that is open for applications, and then you apply, and then you basically you have to complete a form with all your details, and then you're kind of called back for a next stage then, which is you have to get your biometrics done, which is like your fingerprints and everything, and there's
criminal
kind of
records.
Exactly.
That sort of stuff, right?
Yeah. So there's various steps like that, and then you get, like, when that's all done and everything is confirmed, you get like a letter of kind of that you're able to enter the country. And then when you come to the border, then you show that letter, as well as 1 or 2 other documentations that are required. I think we had to get like travel insurance for 2 years while we're over here, and things like that, and proof of a certain amount of funds. I think if I remember correctly, we had to prove we had 2,000 or 3,000 Canadian dollars, I think, in our account for coming over. and we had to show proof of that, and that's all. Then when you get to the border, then you show everything, and at immigration then you get your official permit. But you don't need a job coming over here, not on the 2-year work visa. There is another visa which I believe is called the working professionals visa, which is associated with like a particular job that you have, and you need a job beforehand for that visa. But for the visa I came over, it wasn't required beforehand.
Wow, it's amazing. So when you first stepped into Canada, well, I think there are two aspects, work-wise as well as, not overcoming, but, seeing as what it is as opposed to what was back in your mind, what Canada was like. How did it feel like work-wise? Was it difficult for you to find a job?
So I was actually fairly lucky in receiving employment. It took me about a month to get a job.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I was very lucky. I think things just seemed to work out fairly aligned. I found recruiters were a great way to get a job. Actually, when I initially came over, I reached out to a good few like recruitment agencies over here and everything like that. And that they were so helpful. What I did find is I was trying to apply for jobs before moving over, and no one would even. I was hearing nothing back. I think they like to see you have like a Canadian number and a Canadian address and everything like that. So that was what I found before coming over. But once I arrived in the country, once I got like a phone number and I was able to put down like address where I was living, the process seemed to go much quicker. And I actually got my job. I got my job through an Irish recruiter who works in a company here in Canada, and she actually put a job up on a Facebook page it's called Irish and New in Vancouver. It's a big Facebook group for a lot of Irish people that come over here to Canada, and she actually put a job up that she was advertising on behalf of her agency that she was recruiting for. And I applied for that job. I reached out to her for that job, but that position was filled, but she was talking to me then about the role that I ended up receiving. And I was very lucky I got with the job. It's a great job with kind of good salary and good benefits, so which isn't kind of often heard of over here for someone's like first job, especially when they arrive. So I was just very lucky in how things I think it was just kind of all about timing and just how it all worked out, because I know some people haven't found it as easy, or like they might get a job but it doesn't have the same same salary to be able to live comfortably in Vancouver, or and benefits and stuff like that.
Especially in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Because of the rising living cost.
Exactly.
That goes up year after year.
Yeah.
Well, you've been here for about a year, but I can share my experience with you.
Yes.
When we first came back in 2018, the price of gas was relatively cheaper. Like right now, it has gotten to a point where it's acceptable, but after so many years, we've seen like increases that are just like crazy.
Yeah.
And not only that, but other aspects of life, like when you go shopping for groceries, dine out, the rent that you're paying.
The rent,
all that sums up into, it could be pretty steep.
Yeah. It's amazing all the things that add up week to week when you live over here. But so definitely was very lucky to get a job that we were able to kind of live comfortably over here somewhat. So
how about finding accommodation? Because that was sort of, I wouldn't say difficult, but it seemed to have like some of the viewers of our channel, especially when they first arrived, because of no proof of their background history, because they're pretty new to the country as well. It was relatively hard to find as basic as accommodation. It took us a while to find the right place. Definitely, when we first came over, we stayed in an Airbnb for a few weeks. So I think we booked initially for a month, I think we extended to about 6 weeks. And we were able to find our place within that time, but it was a bit of a process in terms of making sure you have like your kind of information together. And we were very lucky. We had a few areas in mind. We kind of were, when we first moved over, we were kind of scouting the areas, have the balance of like kind
cost and amenities nearby and everything you're kind of wanting in an apartment. I would say all kind of places that were kind of looking for like references and stuff like that, which we kind of we didn't obviously have anything here in Canada, but we were able to kind of, I suppose, show stuff from back home. But we were lucky we received our place and everything was fine, but I can imagine why some other accommodations might be more strict, I imagine, or in terms of how different management companies do things is so different over here. Even moving into places being fully unfurnished was, even though we knew coming over, but back home in Ireland, they're all kind of partly furnished, or at least or fully furnished, depending.
You got more stuff in the package.
Yeah.
That way, right?
Yeah. So that's it. So it was very much it was a process, but we just found when we first moved over to the country, we stayed in Airbnb, and we probably would if we do it again, we probably would do something like that, or I know I see a lot of people subletting their units for a few months. So if people are kind of stuck for accommodation, in short term, that could be another possibly even more financially better possibility compared, because I know staying in Airbnb, even though you're booking for a long time, it's a bit cheaper. It's still expensive to do. Whereas with subleases, it's probably, I think generally there could be a bit more affordable sometimes. But yeah, so I think we were lucky that we were here for about a month before we found the right place, but we eventually did. But it was a bit of a process between looking at different places and trying to balance the costs as well as what you're kind of looking for in a unit. Yeah.
How about, since you've settled here for about a year, what are your thoughts about Vancouver or Canada in general, as opposed to, back home when that image of Canada is still in your mind?
Yeah,
is it very different, or is it pretty much similar?
It's generally what I expected. One thing that kind of, as I said, that kind of captured us before coming over was like the beauty of BC and the beauty of Vancouver and beauty of Canada in general, and it's certainly lived up to that in terms of just having all the beautiful areas around BC, all the mountains, the beaches, and also I'd always recommend someone to come over to kind of travel a bit. Like we went to Banff and it was stunning up there as well. Vancouver, it's a very friendly city. It's what we kind of, before we came over, we kind of heard a lot about it being very relaxed and very welcoming. It is very much like that. What I would say is I have found it hard to kind of make to make, I suppose, a solid friend group over here, and I feel like a lot of people who've come over, I've kind of had similar situations that I've spoken to with Irish people that come over. I would say my situation was slightly different when I moved over, in terms of I know a lot of people who've moved over are Irish are generally in their like early 20s, coming over with a group of friends, and they kind of stick around with their group of friends over here and experience new things together, whereas I came over when I was just before my 30th birthday. I was with my boyfriend, so we had
Very young.
so it was yeah, I know.
well, compared to me, I wish I was 30.
So, but it was a slightly, I suppose, because I found a lot of people come over, when I've come over like a group of friends, whereas coming over with a partner was slightly different, and you kind of have to put yourself out there a bit when it comes to making friends and stuff, and it's something that I feel I probably should have done more of over here. I was good when I first came over to do these social events and everything, whereas since then I kind of kept the momentum going. So definitely I would recommend, if you come over, to kind of get your put yourself out of your comfort zone as well in it.
Which to a lot of people it might not be that easy at first, right?
Yeah.
Because you're so used to, your as you said, comfort zone. It's something that you're very comfortable with.
Yeah.
But I think the nature or the great things about Vancouver, it's because there are so many different cultures, ethnicities, where
exactly,
if you are really into, well, it's a choice of whether you want to take a step out, or if you feel comfortable.
Yeah,
that's still fine.
Yeah. And the one thing I found when we moved to Vancouver, and kind of one of the reasons we wanted to experience over somewhere else new, was all the different cultures over here, and meeting so many different types of people and different even the food scene over here, trying different restaurants, different foods. It's been it's been amazing trying all the different
Have you tried
cuisines.
all of them?
No, definitely not. But as much as we could, we definitely tried loads of different so many nice restaurants over here from different backgrounds. But there's just so many options over here for that. So
that's true.
And Vancouver is a great city for just having those experiences, and it's a city I find in terms of living it's very easy with transport to get around and everything as well. So definitely when it comes to just having those experiences, it's been amazing as well.
That's great. Thanks again, Fiona, for your time.
No worries. Thank you
and
so
your
much,
sharing.
Joseph.
I wish you all the best.
Thank
I
you.
think it's the best time of your life at that age and stage that you travel around to see the world. I think that's something that I would encourage more people to do if they were able to.
Definitely.
But thanks for sharing your perspective of Vancouver, the city that I call home now.
Yes.
But I hope it's always going to be a part of you.
Yes, definitely. We've such positive experiences here. So yeah, I'm definitely going to miss it and hold all the memories here very fondly.
Okay. 好啦，咁啱啱同同事就傾咗好耐啦，咁希望大家都中意我哋呢個環節啦嚇，咁一個新嘅嘗試。咁就走之前呢，最緊要 share、like 同埋 subscribe 我哋 channel 喎。咁覺得有用嘅片呢，就分享俾其他朋友。OK， 咁今日節目時間差唔多啦，咁我哋差唔多再見啦。Maybe we can say bye to our audience.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
See you. Bye.